Hey everybody, welcome back to Living in Charlotte. If you're considering a move to Charlotte, North Carolina, I got a great video here for you today. I'm going to be showing you Huntersville, North Carolina, and this location has been exploding recently, not just with stuff to do, but also home evaluations and whatever you're looking for. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around for the whole video so you can find out if it's a good fit for you and your family. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, the first thing we're going to jump into is the housing numbers for Huntersville, North Carolina. But before we do, I would like to ask you a favor. If you find value in this video, please drop a like, leave a comment, and also subscribe to the channel, as we're trying to grow here and just bring everyone that wants to come to Charlotte and wants to know about the Charlotte area. We can inform them and see if it's a good fit for them and their family too. If you're interested in these numbers, you can always look them up yourself. I'm just on redfin.com and I go to the certain city or location that I'm looking for, and that way I can analyze the housing prices. So that's just what I'm going to go over with y'all today. So you can see right at the very top here, it does say that Huntersville housing market is very competitive, and you typically receive 2 offers on average, and it sells around 39 days. And here at Ripoli Real Estate, we've been seeing that too. It's been taking between usually 30 and 45 days to get any type of offer on a house, and that is up from the last couple of years. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the Huntersville housing market trends, and you can see the median sale price is $572,500. And that's an increase of about 2.7% year over year. And this is a 5-year graph. You can see going back to 2020, the prices back then were about $319,000-ish, and it's just been climbing and climbing. A few spikes here and there. Ever since December of 2020, it has been up and down. That looks around near the peak of things, just under $600,000. And then we've come down quite a bit in December of 2023. That was probably the best time to buy during that lull, because that actually went down to $470,000. But like I said, recently, like just this year, we've seen a huge spike in interest in Huntersville. There's been a lot of development going on over there, and commercial development as well, and people are starting to notice that, and it's a great place to actually be because you're not that far from Charlotte, and you're actually located really close to Lake Norman, and I'm going to show you that later on our map as well. Next up, we're going to just look at number of homes sold. You can see 100. That is up 8.7% year over year. This is kind of just seasonal here. You can see that it goes up and down. It did drop quite a bit at the beginning of 2023, and we did spike back up here recently, but this is mostly seasonal, and you'll probably see an uptick in this going into the summer months once we get that data. And here's median days on market. Like I said, right now we're not really in a buyer's market, but it is one of the closest things to a buyer's market. Back in January of 2024, you can see those 56 days on the market, and then of course once we go into spring, it swings down, and now that we're going back into fall, you'll see that swing back up to close prior to that number of about 50 to 60 days. The next number we're going to look at here is sale to list price. Now, sellers are still typically trying to price it a little bit too high, and I get it. You want to get as much value out of your house that you can get, but the unfortunate thing is if you price your house a little bit too high because you want to maximize your value, then you'll get less eyes on your house, and people will see it and think that it's overpriced. And then by the time you lower it, you're chasing the market, so people might not be as interested. So you actually have to come down $10,000, $15,000 in order for people to gain interest. So it's better to actually price a little bit below what you think the market is worth, so that way you get a lot of eyes and possibly some multiple offers on that. But here you can see we are really close to 100%, 99.5, and you can see this line is fairly steady, right around 99, 98%. Let's see, the last time we were at 100 was in April, and March and April is the big spring buying season, so that doesn't surprise me that sellers were getting what they were asking for, and maybe just a tick or two higher than what they were looking for. And just to go along with that a little bit, you can see homes sold above list price, it's actually down 16% year over year, and that just goes along with the sale to list price too, so these kind of correlate. And then lastly, home with price drops. So of course, if you start a little bit high, that means you're going to have to drop the price faster than you want, or more aggressively than you wanted to, and you can see that that's up year over year as well. So the market is shifting, not completely out of a seller's market, but buyers do have some advantages in the current market that we're in until interest rates actually do start dropping. If you've seen my videos before, you know I like this next little stat here. It actually shows where people are coming from and moving to when they leave the Charlotte area. So it's just a fun little stat to look at. And you can see the top couple really never changed. Exchange, New York, Washington, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Atlanta. The theme with all of these is that these are really high cost of living in high populated areas. And now Charlotte is growing, but it is not the numbers that these particular locations have. And cost of living is way more affordable than most of these locations. So if you want to compare that, reach out to us and we'll be able to let you know what you could save if you actually wanted to move to the Charlotte area. And then on the flip side, we can see people leaving. Myrtle Beach is number one here. People do like the beach. Believe it or not, people think that Charlotte, North Carolina is by the beach, but it's really not. You still have a 2.5, 3 hour trip to the beach, which is still fine for a lot of people. But if you want to live that beach life, you're going to want to go to Myrtle Beach or the Outer Banks, somewhere like that. So that's why people come here, and then they might just want to move a little bit closer to the beach. All right, so this next stat here is going to be recently sold homes. So you can kind of see like how long they were on the market and seeing if they actually got what they asked for or if they had to drop their prices or actually got above them. So you can see this first one here was sold on July 23rd. It was listed at $634,900, but it actually sold for $625,000. So that was just about 2% under list price, and it did take 2 months, 60 days on the market. So this next one sold on July 22nd, and the list price was $639,900, and it actually went very close to that at $639,000. It took just over a month, so 39 days. And since it was only $900 off the actual list price, it was basically break even there. But that was a pretty good deal. They waited their time, they waited the 40 days, and they got what they were looking for. And that's key too, because you do want to do price drops, but you don't want to do price drops right away. You want to wait at least 2-3 weeks and seeing how much activity you're actually getting on your location. This next one here was another July 22nd. List price was $444,990. They got exactly what they wanted, but this one took longer. They had more conviction. They did not drop the price. It took 73 days on the market to sell, and they got what they were asking for. And we're going to look at one more here. I did find this one. It was sold July 19th. List price was $589,900, and it actually went for $575,000, which is 3% under list price, and this one was only on the market for 23 days. So what that tells me is these people were highly motivated to move the price down quickly so they could get it sold, or they priced it too high, and the second it came back down into what people thought that price was, then they got it sold, because that's a pretty big price drop in that time frame. But it all worked out for the seller. Schools we don't go over too much here. You can see on the screen that it does give some ratings for these local schools. But don't forget, you also have charter schools, private schools. So there's a lot of different things you can look at for your kids. I know a lot of people also homeschool their kids. So if you want some additional information, you can reach out to us and we can give you some good links for some information. But we really don't rank the schools. But these ones on the screen are highly ranked if you want to look into them if you decide to move to Huntersville. And I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about the weather in Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of people think that if we get hit by a hurricane, it would really impact us. But we are pretty far away from the beach. And statistically speaking, hurricanes have not hit the Carolinas that much on a direct impact. It does happen, you have to be prepared for it, but it doesn't happen all that often. Like I said before, we are about like 2 or 3 hours inland from the beach. So if a hurricane did come off the coast, we would get a lot of severe weather and flooding and whatever comes along with the hurricanes, but we would not get that initial burst like what we did if we lived by the beach. Now, the hurricanes that we've been impacted with since we moved here about 6 years ago have been the ones that are coming up from the Gulf, the ones that hit around Florida or New Orleans, and they run up the coastline. Those are the ones that impact us a lot, and we mostly get some severe weather but a lot of rain when that actually does happen, because it does run up the coast and those are pretty big storms, and the rain could last for a couple days. So I did find this site here with projects, like future projects for Huntersville, North Carolina, and I'll link that down in the description for you guys to take a peek at. Now, this isn't just for Huntersville. It's for different places around Charlotte, but I thought it'd be cool to share with you guys about some future projects with the Huntersville area. These top 3 here, you can see it's Huntersville Town Center, Towns at Maxwell, and Samford Road. We're going to click on this one first so you can see what that looks like. It's going to be a new community with 244 homes located on 10 acres of suburban lands in Charlotte. And you can see one of the best features is it says 10 minutes away from Lake Norman, which is a big perk. So that way, if you love the lake life, you won't be that far from it. And these are going to be new builds, so you're going to get that fresh, clean look. If you were looking for something a little bit smaller, these are townhomes. Now, this one's going to be a lot smaller, only 35 townhomes. But you can see that this is also a project that's under construction. So they may have even started building some homes already, or even like a demo home for you to go into. And this last one here is Huntersville Town Center. Now this is going to encompass a lot. It's going to have some retail stuff, probably maybe some financial stuff. I'm not quite sure, but the construction began in 2022 and it's supposed to run through 2026. So it's just about halfway done, but these things do take time. But this is a big project and it should have a lot of cool stuff in it. All right, so far we covered how much it would cost to buy a house in Huntersville, the weather in Huntersville, and some upcoming projects that they have going on in Huntersville, North Carolina. But now we're going to kind of go over what can you do while you're in Huntersville, North Carolina. All right, and you can see that Carolina Raptor Center is pretty cool. The one that I was checking out because I'm a big sports guy is Joe Gibbs Racing. So they have a lot of stuff in there, some memorabilia from Joe Gibbs. And if you don't know, he was a famous football coach and a big-time racing guy after his football career was over. And I just wanted to bring you over here and show you this too. This is him here, his enshrinement into the Football Hall of Fame, and this is when he was a coach. You can look at some of his stats here. In 1991, that was the year I know he won one of his 3 Super Bowls. They went 14-2, and they actually beat my poor Buffalo Bills in that Super Bowl. So kind of still stinging about that one. But back to the list here. Discovery Place for kids. They got a whole bunch of stuff on this list here. I can link this down below for you as well. So if you're looking for some things to do, this is a good list to do when you're in town visiting or if you're checking out Huntersville. And the last thing I want to share with y'all is a map of Charlotte. Now, Kristen made this map, and there's a lot of pinpoints and a lot of different things on it. But I want to show you where it is in relation to Charlotte and possibly the beach as well. So you can see Huntersville is right here. And like I said, Lake Norman is not that far. Lake Norman is right here. So if you're about that lake life or you love being close to the water, this could be a good location for you to consider, because it is a growing area and it's very popular, so close to this. And not to mention, it is not that far of a drive to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now you will be getting a lot of traffic if you're traveling, of course, during rush hour in the morning or the AM, because 77 does get pretty congested. You do have this right here and then the 485 outer loop. So if you worked actually in South Charlotte, you would just take 77, then get on the loop and go all the way around. You will also pass close by the Charlotte Douglas International Airport. So you have access to all these things that are actually really close to you. And then we did just zoom out here so I can show you how far away it is to the actual beach or the ocean. And you can see there's a lot of land between us and the actual ocean. That's why I said it usually takes about 2.5 or 3 hours to actually go in that direction. And if a hurricane were to come here, we would get hit pretty hard, but it'd be nothing compared to what these cities and locations would be on this side. That's all I have for Huntersville, North Carolina. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who might be thinking about moving to Charlotte or just wants some information on the Charlotte area or any of its surrounding suburbs. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.